How do we work with fear in our meditation or yoga practice, or really any practices that we're engaging in when we are on a personal growth path? And many of us come to these practices wanting to get rid of fear. I work with so many students and clients who ask me, what do I do with my fear? Will meditation and yoga help me get rid of my fear? How do we work with fear? One of the essential aspects of healing is learning to be with our arising experience. So you might have heard the term, you need to feel it to heal it. There's another term that I love, Tara Brach uses, attend and befriend. And so these words give us a little bit of a hint as to how we work with fear in our day-to-day life and in our practices when it shows up. Fear is like any other passing state of experience. I've heard that it's said, we're either in love or in fear. And so if we're in fear, obviously, it appears that we're not in love. And even this statement gives us a clue to how aversive we are to the fear state. And this, in and of itself, presents a serious problem. To work with fear, to loosen the grip of fear in our day-to-day lives, to become less thwarted from our path by fear, we need to do something radically different. We need to give fear space to be. There's nothing wrong with it. And even if we're in a state of fear, it does not mean, as many of us might believe, that we are not in love. I would venture to say that love, real deep love, is inclusive of fear. Real deep love cradles and holds fear. And so I would say that love and fear are really in no way separate. That love can hold fear, but fear simply cannot overpower or overshadow love. To work with fear is to really be willing to be with. I think one thing we have to realize is that fear is natural. We can expect it to be here. We look at the work of some of the more contemporary teachers of our time, Tara Brach, Brene Brown. These are two women that I can think of off the top of my head whose work I deeply admire, that make space for the shakiness of vulnerability and the shakiness of fear. Fear is a natural part of our process. It's a natural part of the spiritual path or any personal growth path you walk. Fear should be expected. And when we can welcome fear back to the table, give it a place to sit, it tends to loosen its grip. Many of you have heard me recite Rumi's poem, The Guest House, but I think it's so appropriate for this topic. And he says, being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. We can learn to make space at the table of our heart for fear. Fear loosens its grip, and we're allowed more access to the deeper pockets, kind of the deeper well of our own heart. Fear, I like to think of as a gatekeeper, a sacred guardian. And it's simply there to protect us from the unknown. Guess what? When we're walking this path really fiercely, honestly, we're constantly stepping into the unknown. And we're always uncovering and discovering new parts of who we are. And that's so wonderful. And it's also scary because we take a certain amount of comfort from having a solid sort of identity structure. Now, the drawback to that is a really small and limited life. And so as we're journeying and we're moving from this sort of small sense of self, and we're more willing to include other aspects of our being, our sense of self shifts and changes. And it's a little scary. It's a little shaky. It can be a little unnerving. But when we know that this is a part of the process, that we can come to expect and even welcome fear as part of our growth, then it's a little less scary. And so what we realize is that fear maybe not so much be the problem, but it could be our judgment about what fear means, you know? Fear means there's something wrong. You know, these are our beliefs about what fear means. Rather than getting rid of fear is we're expanding our idea about what it means about us. Often we take fear very personally, and so if we're feeling it, we feel that there's something wrong with us. We feel like we're in the wrong place at the wrong time. We feel like we don't have the right friends or the right partner or the right life because fear is here, and that must mean I'm doing something wrong. That is actually the belief more problematic ever than just the arising of kind of the shaky feeling of fear. So rather than trying to be rid of fear or using your practice to somehow overcome fear, you might go a little bit deeper and ask yourself, what is my relationship to fear? And when I'm feeling fear, am I really feeling at the same time that there's something deeply wrong with me? Am I ashamed of my fear? Just take a moment and, you might pause this or just close your eyes right now and just feel into what is my relationship to fear. And when I'm feeling fear in my everyday life, am I believing that there's something wrong with me? When you're ready, you can open your eyes. I think that if you inquire in this way, you'll find that it's not fear that's the problem, like I've said before in this video. It's how we're relating to fear. So, how do we work with fear in our practice? First step is awareness. We bring this quality of present moment awareness into our everyday life, taking pauses to check in with how we're feeling throughout the day. And just a willingness to bear and be with whatever it is. So maybe in any given moment, there might be sadness, there might be fear, maybe there's anxiety, maybe there's restlessness, maybe there's so many different flavors of fear. And if it is present, if fear is there doesn't have to be a reason for it. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It's simply fear is here. So the second step, awareness being the first, naming, awareness, both of those things kind of being together. And then the second aspect of this is bearing, being with. Oh, fear is here. I like to put my hand on my heart and just say, welcome, welcome. And then this naming isn't any way, shape, or form a strategy to be rid of or get rid of. And this is important. So it's just to be with, just to tend to. Really know that you're just being with high fear, Oh, yeah, it's a little shaky. We're not trying to figure it out. We're just being with. And then feeling into the body and then noticing what happens as you do that. And then including it as part of your experience and moving on, stepping forward. Anyway, What if it were okay if fear were part of your life? What if it didn't have to mean anything about you? What would it mean for you if you didn't believe the belief that fear meant that there was anything wrong? With that simple permission, you might sense your own capacity to not only tolerate, but thrive with fear. You don't need to get rid of fear to thrive. As a matter of fact, the more you can make space for it in this tender field of your heart, and the more you can give yourself permission to really feel it and name it and befriend it, the more you'll begin to open up to the truth of who you are. Fear has never been preventing you from seeing that. What has been is the belief that there's something wrong with fear. And even this belief, when we realize we're in it, that we're believing something's wrong with us for being afraid, we can even welcome that as well. No feeling needs to be left out. So, I hope this helps. I hope this gives you some guidance around how you can relate to your own fear in your own practice. And I hope this gives you and brings you a little more ease today and maybe a little bit more permission to enjoy your life. So hopefully I've loosened up or helped you loosen up a little bit more of that stuckness. And if you want to dive deeper with me and you want to work one-on-one with me and you want to make meditation a practice and a habit and you want to transform some of your limiting beliefs into a new growth mindset, and you want to have just more emotional resiliency and mastery, and you just want to feel more at home in your own skin, then you might be interested in my October 2nd. We begin Reclaim Your Peace. So check out my website, karinanickerson.com. You'll land right on the info page for that. And if you're interested in this program, you want to know more, click the button there to email me. And want to receive more videos like this in the future, then subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll leave a link here as well for my newsletter. Those are all three really good ways to follow me. Subscribe to my newsletter, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's a really good way to just, get some free teachings and downloads. And if you want to take it further, look at my website, karinanickerson.com. Set up an appointment with me. You don't have anything to lose, and this might be exactly the program that you've been looking for to help you change your life in profound and deeply healing ways. With that, I wish you all a wonderful, beautiful day with many, many blessings and plenty of space for fear. Namaste.